So hi everyone, my name is Sagar Kakkala. So here we are for a DevOps session. Today is, I think this is day 16 that now we are in the session, and we will be talking about Prometheus alerts and like Prometheus rules and how we could actually send these alerts to our Slack channel, and that's more on this discussion for this session. And like apart from DevOps, I also do content in like finance, podcast, travels, lyrics, and bit of other stuff. So here, since it's bits of diversified content, I'll just share screen to show how things work in Sagar Kakkala's world. You just have to remember my name, Sagar Kakkala, and search in Google. Like you'll have my website, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And in YouTube, like everything is separated by playlists. And here, like for this session, like I would recommend
What if you're
because this is a continuation of the session, uh, at least like day, one second, yeah, to finish at least 13 and 14 to understand this thing better because something like we are going to use the configurations that we had did in day 13 and 14 for this session. And apart from YouTube, like here in blogs, everything is separated by contents of the blog. Like you could have my like everything here in the blog. It's like DevOps and finance. In case like you had like gone to any blog, you just had to click on logo to navigate back to contents of blog. Yes. With this said, like we could get into this session today because in the last session in day 14, we had discussed about like how Prometheus works, like how and Grafana works here because let's say. hmm, let's say what happens here in Prometheus was like we have our instance, and let's say like we have a CPU system, like let's and we are getting the load increasing every time. Let's say a sudden traffic got boomed and we are going at like 70% or 80%, 70% or 80%. 80% CPU. Like when this goes, like we're okay to take measures, but like we need to know when this comes less because as a DevOps engineer or even as a human, like we cannot monitor like every time when to get this data. But like when we had configured Prometheus, like Prometheus is like a time series database, we were aware. Yes, when we had configured Prometheus in last session, we were aware that like Prometheus is going to save that data. Now, like we would set a rule in Prometheus saying that if like CPU crosses like 70% or 80%, alert me. So that's one rule to get. One is a rule. You're configuring a rule. If there are two things here that we are going to do, one is Prometheus rule. Prometheus rules are nothing but because we have a data and we are going to tell the data whether if the conditions are true or not. If it is crossing 70%, yes or no. If it is yes, then we'll configure another thing called as alert manager. Okay, the condition is true. Now it goes for alert manager. What this does do, this alert manager alerts, okay, fine, there is a condition that got true, and this alert manager is the one like which could send notifications to Slack, Teams, mail, anything. You could configure everything in a single alert manager file as well, which we would see now. So I'm just going for, okay, not this, yes. I'm just going back for the deploy server, like where we configured our uh, instance. One second, let me close this. Okay, not this. Yes, and one more thing I forgot to tell in the last session, or like in this session itself, I would be telling. If your Slack webhook is like, is public because I kept the webhook yesterday while testing in GitHub repo. So it default invalidated my webhook. It made webhook as a part of like, non-working because it is exposed, and it asked me to reinstall webhook. So that is something to take care because I kept it in public repo. It even told me at where what link it is posted as well. So that's where like you should not post the webhooks publicly, else Slack could actually deactivate them as well. Yes, okay. This is, yeah. Mm, yes, so this is the one like day 16 we are in. You could find this in the repo. First thing I'm going to do is like alert manager rules. As we discussed in previous session, we have like something called as CRD. The same CRD will use. But here if you see the Prometheus rule that I'm configuring, it is like less than 70. Like if CPU is less than 70, then bring me an alert. By default, every system, like the new system has CPU less than 70. This is something I'm doing just to get the alert, just for us to test. And by default, actually, in certain cases, it will be more like if the CPU is like greater than 90 or it's like greater than 85%. But here, I'm just doing this just to get the alerts. It's not alert that could be used. You could say that this is a dummy alert because like by default, we'll have alert like CPU less than 70. And as explained in Prometheus, like these are the queries to get the CPU. And like if it is like CPU is 100, like less than 70, maybe it's better. I'll show the case itself. Get, okay, because it's micro KTS. I'm just going for this. Okay, 31605. Now, is it's like the namespace CRD? The namespace CRD is the one like which we configured in the last session just for like a demo purpose. Like we'll be using that same CRD. So it's like 0.00095 and like into 100 into 10. No, 1 second, like where is this? I did not copy the complete CRD, I guess. Hmm. So it's an expression like where we set the rules. It's just like a single example that we are doing here. So as you could see, like 0.108, like which is less than 70. So the condition is true, which means like there is like alert that would be triggered. So I'll also show like where the alerts are as well triggered. So like before that, like let's understand this file. Yes. So this is something like in the groups, you could actually like have multiple rules as well, like using groups. One is like the alert manager rules I kept, and here is like rules. In these rules, you could have n number of alerts. Like only one alert is kept here, like low pod CPU usage. You could keep like low memory usage or low disk space usage or any usage that you want to keep, and based on that, like whatever the condition is, like you'll have the expression there. The same thing for is like to check like the rate of checking. It will be like 1 minute and labels like what severity you could name it like critical, info, warning, the same things here. And here the labels is the one that's like most important. Like since we had kept here like labels release Prometheus, this is where it integrates with our Prometheus monitoring. If you go for let's say because it is like monitoring dot course dot this is the one, right? Let's go for this because these are actually going for CRD. kubectl get CRD. Yeah, this is the one like Prometheus rules dot monitoring dot is this the one? 1 second, let me verify. Yeah, actually like this is something I'll do later in the blog to add code snippets which we missed last time. So as you could see the match labels would be release Prometheus. So to actually like sorry, rule selector. Yeah. So for the rule to actually like select to this CRD, we had to match the labels to Prometheus. Like whatever is there in the label, like you had to default use that label itself. Since while installing, we had used Helm install Prometheus and then the Helm chart name, so it default took release name as Prometheus. If you had used different name, so the label here would changed. So whatever the label here is, you had to use the same label here for it to configure. So yes, yeah. Let's configure this rule. And this will check the CPU usage of the pods that are in namespace CRD, which is like one pod that we had kept. Now let's just go for kubectl apply -f. So it created, since the kind here, these are CRD. CRDs is nothing but like custom resource definitions. So here these are kind is like Prometheus rule. Like instead of like checking for pods or something, you had to check whatever the kind is for it to for us to check whether it's configured or not. So it's like kubectl get Prometheus rule -n monitoring. As you could see, one got configured 31 seconds ago. So if I go for Prometheus server status like rule health, so this is where like I have all the rules. Maybe like it will take some time to reflect. Yeah, this is the one that we had like alert manager rules like low pod CPU usage is the one like that we had now. Last rule evaluation is still not done, like it will take some time to evaluate. Once it is done, like we'll go for alerts. Like in alerts, you'll have like firing, and in firing is the one like where you will find the rule getting triggered. So it's like the condition is true, and you'll get here as firing. But we can't monitor here firing like every time. So that is where like we'll configure alert manager for us to send alerts whenever there is to Slack. Uh, on the rules part, it is clear, right? Like Prometheus rules part, because like we'll go for alert manager.
Yeah,
Yes.
Sagar.
Yes. So like before going into like alert manager configurations, the same thing, kubectl get CRD. These CRD is everything we got from the kube Prometheus stack Helm chart. So we are using the same. So here we have like alert manager, like monitoring config. Like if we go for minus oh YAML. hmm, Just like you have like rule selector has a label there. Here by default, like we'll have alert manager config selector. Here alert manager config selector, are like match labels release and Prometheus. Actually, these were not there before. So alert manager configurations was actually none. So yesterday what I did, it's just like one step that you had to do. It's just like you had to copy this. So it's like you are going to update alert manager config selector to release Prometheus to have one label called Prometheus. That's it. So we are actually like configuring it to have a label for us to use it. Just like the last one. Yeah, it got patched. Same thing. Like if you had like a new CRD, here it will show like alert manager config selector as like this, like none. Which, but here it is showing like this because yesterday I applied patch. That's it. So once you had patch, so this is where like we had to use label called Prometheus for us to attach to this CRD, just like the last concept we had with rules. Yeah, first thing. Okay, the alert manager rules, alert manager notifications. Yeah, for us to send notifications, here we had actually the Slack webhook, and we want to send it to Slack webhook URL. And for that, like what we'll do, where is this label? Yeah, labels release Prometheus is the one that's important for us. We are going to just use this. And here, like before, actually this is an API URL that uses secret. Like before we actually like go for using this, like configuring this, we will configure a secret with like Slack webhook URL. And here it has the same label as before because we want everything to be integrated. The label should be the same, Prometheus. And for us to get the Slack webhook, it's not this, it's the different one. Okay. Yes. This is the one that we were using. Like we'll go for incoming webhook. This is previous one. Yes, my bad. Yeah, you'll just turn on webhook and you'll just like reinstall app. And test alerts is the one that we had sent. Hmm, yes. You go and take care that this webhook must not be actually posted in like GitHub repo or somewhere public. Like if it is actually like posted that way, as I showed previously, it'll get invalidated by Slack itself. Just for you to test the webhook whether it's working or not. You just like copy this and inside the server. Okay, so okay in the sense like it data sent hello world as from demo, so the webhook is working fine. So we are going to actually copy this. Okay, I actually configured it already before. Yes, this is something that I had to. I just had to use this new webhook. Hmm. Okay, once the secret is created, this would be like our last step for our alert manager notifications is the same again because it's a CRD that we are going to use and just like we had configured here, config selector, we are going to use label as Prometheus and group by is like whatever the alerts are there, like we are going to the alerts and here is where what you want to send the alerts to because like we had grouped by alert name and we are going to send this to receiver as Slack notification. And here this name and this name would should be the same. It's like the receiver is Slack notification and the receiver name is Slack notification. And same way, instead of Slack, you could add below here like Teams, Mail, or anything that you want. And you had to tell like what where the route must it has to go. Yes, we'll configure this now. Mm, I think like I already have that. And yes, I already have that. The channel name, test alerts, yes, everything. Like a name is Slack webhook and key is Slack webhook URL. And here this key Slack webhook URL is something it's picked by secret. As you know, the secret is in the key. It is like Slack webhook URL. It's the data it will pick up from here. Hmm, yes. So I'm just applying kubectl apply minus f. Okay, the same thing. The kind is kubectl get alert manager config minus n monitoring. So we got it configured as well. Now let us see if the alerts are getting configured or not. Yeah, there are like firings that's happening. Yeah, this is the one firing that we need, as you know. So it says like it's firing actually. So it's like CPU is load, and I think like it'll take at least like 5 minutes for us to get into this alerts. Let's see, like once it's done, like you'll get alert something like this. Not this, not this. UI has been bit changed for Prometheus. It's the same. Like you'll get something like this. The same thing. Since I don't want to wait for 5 minutes, so that's where like I'm just showing this directly. So this is how like you'll get the alert. Yes, I think yeah, that is all for this session. Have any doubts? Mm,
No,
Uh,
Sagar.
yeah, I'll stop the screen share. 1 second.